Welcome back to Wretched. You've seen the disgusting Planned Parenthood videos. The opponents respond and say, this issue is very complicated. You've got objections about the mother. You've got objections about the baby. We say we've got a response to simplify what appears to be a complex issue, just like we do in our new series, Life is Best.
The Bible is clear that it's wrong to intentionally kill an innocent human being. But many people today simply assume the unborn are not human. They don't argue for it, they simply assume it. Your job is to expose that assumption. And you're going to use a little tactic called trot out the toddler to do it. Here's how it works. The next time someone gives you an argument for why abortion should be allowed, ask yourself this question: would this work as a good argument for killing a toddler? If the answer is no, the person you're talking to is assuming the unborn are not human. They haven't argued for it, they're just assuming it. And by asking the question, would this work as a good argument for killing a toddler, you not only clarify the debate, you force the person to explicitly spell out what they mean. So the next time someone raises an objection to your pro-life view, don't panic. Trot out your toddler.
To simplify the issue, you have to bring the conversation back to one question. What is the unborn? We do that by comparing the unborn to toddlers, because we know that toddlers are truly human, and what we want to know is the unborn human in the same way? The science of embryology tells us that without question, from the very beginning, that is conception, the unborn are living, distinct, whole human beings. When it comes to human value, differences like size, level of development, environment, and degree of dependencies are not good enough reasons for taking the life of a toddler. Therefore, they're not good enough reasons for taking the lives of human beings who are in utero. At the end of the day, the only thing that determines our value is our intrinsic human nature, the same nature that we share with every other human being.
If you had a friend who had a 2-year-old and she said to you, I can't afford this child, he's going to have a bad life, and I'd like to spare him that by killing him, what would your response be?
Well, she already had that child. That's her fault. She shouldn't have had it in the first place if she didn't want it.
So, and tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth, if it could be shown that the unborn were human like that 2-year-old, would you agree that the unborn shouldn't be killed because he's unwanted any more than the 2-year-old should be?
Again, I think that there's not a yes or no answer. It's kind of like a polarizing question again. There's good and bad to every situation. So I think people have their own choice to do what they want.
I have a 2-year-old child staying next to me, this 2-year-old little girl. She is my next door neighbor. Her mother's schooling is now at risk because this 2-year-old little child, the financial strain that she's put on her family. Now, would you say that it was okay for me to kill this 2-year-old little girl to secure the mother's educational future so that she can go on to be the person that she wants to be through education and then get a job later? Would it be okay to kill that child?
It's easier with a 2-year-old because a 2-year-old you can pass on to a grandparent, you can put up for adoption or something. But when you're in the process of being pregnant, that's 9 months of your life you can't get back. People put too much emphasis on the child. You have to think of the mother too. It's a 50-50 thing. It's a two-way street. Like I said, the liberties go until they hit someone else's liberty. The mother's liberty was hit for 9 months.
But the child's is hit forever.
The child's is hit forever, yes, but...
Is the government unjustly interfering when it tells the citizenry you can't kill 2-year-olds?
Well, I mean, killing a 2-year-old is murder, and murdering is already illegal, right?
I say they have one single parent and no other family, and that parent is just deeply depressed and kills that child. Have they done something wrong? Because that child was not giving anything to society.
I would say if that parent cannot support that child and does not want that child's not going to be able to contribute to society in the fashion that it would otherwise.
So it's okay for her to kill her newborn child in those circumstances because the life itself doesn't have value.
Well, when you put it like that, it sounds like murder.
Notice what just happened here. In each case, the students brought up objections that they were certain complicated the abortion debate. They didn't complicate it. All they did is confuse things because they were assuming the unborn were not human. Now notice they hadn't argued for that. They had simply assumed it. And I didn't let them get away with it, and you shouldn't let them get away with it either. Every time someone brings up an objection to the pro-life view where they are assuming the unborn are not human, it is your job to trot out your toddler and simply ask, would this be a good argument for killing a 2-year-old? If the answer's no, you know for a fact that the person you're talking to is making an assumption they have not proven. Look, it's real easy to get distracted in this debate, real easy to chase rabbit trails. You don't want to do that. You have got to be clear. Chain that toddler to your knee if you need to. Keep him right by. Don't let him out of your sight. And you'll clarify things exactly as you need to. If I understand you right, you personally oppose abortion because you believe it violently kills a human being, an innocent human being. But you think it should be legal to do that.
It's a fine line. I think that the choice shouldn't be made by the government. Like, I think that it should be a personal choice, just like religion is. Because I think a lot of like abortion and life and death follows a lot of religious views and a lot of like personal choices. I don't think that the government should be able to just make that decision for me.
If there was a cult group, for example, that decided 2-year-olds did not have a right to life, and it was their personal decision that 2-year-olds could be killed or used as parental property, does the state have a right to tell them you can't do that?
Well, I would hope that. Obviously that would never happen, but that the laws that are already in place would kind of put that down. But I think that when it comes to decisions like that, when they decide like, oh, I don't think 2-year-olds have the right to live, I don't think that that's like a religious view, like it might be a social view, like put upon you from your community or how you were raised. But I don't think that choosing like that, making a choice for someone else, like, I don't know, it's a hard line, I guess, to talk about, because I don't think that they should be in our personal decisions, but to me, killing a bunch of 2-year-olds because you don't think that they live is a personal decision or like something that someone would make.
If there's a culture that says you can kill 2-year-olds because others won't provide services for them, is that a flaw in the 2-year-old or in those who ought to be doing the caring?
It's it's a social practice. It's the society as a whole.
Would you call
has
that
reached
wrong?
That point.
That the 2-year-olds are killed simply because people don't want to step up?
Is it because they don't want to or because they can't?
Let's say they don't want to.
No, they don't combine.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. So, if the unborn are human, like that 2-year-old, should they be killed for lack of social services any more than we'd kill a 2-year-old for lack of social services? If the unborn are
No,
human.
they shouldn't be killed for lack of social services.
Here's the great thing about Trot Out the Toddler. You don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have a PhD to use it. All you have to do is know how to ask the right questions. When they bring up child abuse and say, hey, listen, we've got to have abortion to prevent children that are unwanted from being abused later in life, don't panic. Trot out your toddler. I have a 2-year-old in front of me. By the time he's 5, he's going to be roughed up. Would it be okay to kill him now to prevent him from being roughed up later? Nobody's going to say, yeah, go for it. Or say they bring up economic hardship. Poor women can't afford to bring another child into this world. You're going to force them to do that? Don't get defensive. Trot out your toddler. I have a 2-year-old in front of me. His parents can't afford to feed him. Would it be okay for them to execute the 2-year-old to balance the checkbook at the end of the month? Nobody's going to say yes. Only by assuming the unborn aren't human do they argue that way. Stay hitched to your toddler, and it even works on the toughest questions. In fact, we're going to talk about the toughest question of all in the next segment and show how Trot Out the Toddler can keep you on message.
That simplifies the issue. That is Life is Best, paid for by you. If you would like to watch more of the 13 episodes, simply visit lifeisbest.tv and be equipped to defend life.